I know how confusing and overwhelming and challenging it can be to want to start making an income through your work, but you just don't know how, you don't know where to start, and you don't know what to focus on in this current moment in time and how to move forward. In today's video, I'm going to be providing an 8-phase roadmap that I wish I had when I was first getting started planning and building my business. It would have definitely helped me save a lot of time and avoid some unnecessary frustration. Before jumping into the 8 phases, I do want to mention, if you're here watching this video and you're wanting to start your business based around your art and your art skills, I am going into these 8 phases thinking that you've already been working on your art for some amount of time and you have your skills developed to a certain level. I'm by no means saying that you have to be super skilled at drawing or painting in order to make an income through your work. I'm not even saying that you have to have your art style completely down and your creative process honed and all that. I was at a low intermediate level when I first started, and I by no means had my art style sorted. In my case, I made a lot of mistakes. I put the cart in front of the horse in many cases, and things took a lot longer for me to grow. And I think that if I had waited a little bit longer, if I had had the time to develop my skills a little bit more, and I had started developing my art style, things would have grown a lot faster for me. But whatever the case may be, it is important that you have spent a good amount of time developing your art skills to a certain level and you have developed a body of work. And the reason why I think this is so incredibly important is because once you start your business, a lot of your time is going to go into business stuff, marketing stuff, and learning everything that you need to learn about business, accounting, and all these things, and you're not going to have a lot of time for only developing your skills and developing your voice. It can get very overwhelming if you're trying to do both simultaneously. Not to mention, having your creative process better honed, you're going to be more confident in what you can offer, and you're going to be able to set more realistic time frames with clients and customers. This cannot happen if you haven't developed your skills to a certain level and haven't created a lot of art. I think it's so important to acknowledge and accept the fact that if you want to make an income through your work, it's not only about skill level, it's also about learning business and marketing and how to offer people what they want, right? Because you are creating a product after all. And yes, it is art and it is personal and it is different from other types of products out there, but ultimately you're offering something to people and it's a value exchange. You have to be offering something of value that people will want to buy. And so building an art business is a combination of having good skills, something that people want, and also learning business, learning marketing, and all these things that go along with building a business. And this is exactly why so many artists out there who have more of an intermediate level when it comes to art skills make a great income because they know how to market and position themselves and offer people something that they want. Whereas other artists who have an incredibly high skill level are never able to fully sustain themselves through their art. So it's a combination of both of these things that will lead to success over time. We want to continue developing our knowledge and skills with both of these areas if we're wanting to grow a business and keep it sustainable over the long haul. If we don't accept these things, or we are so avoidant of marketing, sales, that we give up control to a gallery or something along those lines so that we don't have to do it, we're either not going to grow our name and our audience enough to be able to make consistent sales, or what happens when that gallery goes out of business or doesn't make any sales in a couple of months. I've had friends who go down the gallery route and that's all they do, along with some art events and fairs. And I've seen the stress that they experience when they don't know how they're going to be paying the bills next month. I personally would rather have control. I would rather build up multiple income streams that are doable for me and kind of the life vision that I have for myself, and know that I have consistent income coming in every month. I would simply not be able to sit down and create art and enjoy the creative process if I am too worried about not being able to pay the bills or having enough money to put food on the table. So having said all that, let's jump into the 8-phase roadmap for planning and starting your art business. The first phase is to assess your current life situation or the chapter of life you are currently in. We are all in different life situations. You could be going to school, or maybe you have a full-time job the way that I did. Or maybe you have small kids. We need to be very practical and honest about our current active roles in life, those roles that take up the majority of our time and attention and effort, and from there have a better understanding of how much time we have available to start and grow our art business. Also, assess your financial situation. Have you been able to save up some amount of money so that you can have a little cushion if you do leave that full-time job? How much of an income do you need coming in every month to at least cover the basics? It's very important that you know these things because in the beginning, your business is likely not going to be very profitable, and you're still going to have to be making investments in art supplies and other things such as maybe a website or an accountant. I personally was in a situation where I needed to have a certain amount of income coming in every month, and I am also very risk avoidant. So I gave myself 2 years to continue working in that last full-time job while I saved up some money and started my business on the side. And then I was able to work only part-time while I continued growing my business. And then I finally went full-time with my business. I understood since the beginning that it would be taking me a longer time. And I just embraced it and stayed patient. You might be in an entirely different situation, or maybe you're not as risk avoidant as I am. Whatever the case may be for you, take these important things into account and start creating a plan for yourself to work through so that 1 year, 3 years, 5 years down the line, you're able to live that life that you want to be living and be dedicating your time fully to your art practice and your art business. Moving into phase number 2, and this one is get really clear on what you want and how and where you're going to be making your sales. There are so many different paths that you can take as an artist to make an income through your work and your skills. The way that I see it, there is the more traditional artist route, the more kind of digital entrepreneurial artist route, and also there is an in-house designer or artist route. And yes, there is overlapping in these areas, and because eventually you want to be able to work on multiple sources of income, you may be combining different elements of these. But just for explanation's sake, and because I want you to get started and focus on just one single stream of income and then build on that, I'm going to be explaining these 3 for you. So in the more traditional artist path, there is gallery representation and applying for art grants and entering art competitions, selling original artwork, doing commissions, maybe even participating in local art events or fairs or markets, and even teaching. The newer artist path, which we have available to us today because of the internet, is a little bit more entrepreneurial in the sense that you are building up your own business from scratch completely independently. So if you want to start an online art school or you want to sell your courses digitally and market everything yourself, you can also create your own online art shop or start your own art YouTube channel, creating an online membership through which you'll be sharing any type of content or artwork or even physical products with your closest community and fans. Creating a Kickstarter so that you can fund your comic book or your graphic novel. You can even make some sort of complementary income via sharing affiliate links through blog posts and YouTube videos. And then there's the third route that you can take, which is working in-house for a company or business. You can be an animator or an in-house designer. If you're unclear about what you want, you're not going to be able to set goals effectively, and you're not going to be able to ever arrive at that life that you want to be living. And believe me, I know that it can be hard to narrow it down to 1 or 2 specific things, but you need to start directing your efforts somewhere, and you need to start working toward that. And then as you move forward, you're going to gain more and more clarity as to what you don't want to do and what you do want to do. So do some introspection, journal it out, whatever it is that you need to do. Think of the life that you want to be living 3 or 5 years from now. If you're having trouble deciphering your life's mission, your life's purpose, your personal goals, I would highly recommend looking into the Japanese concept of ikigai. I want to create a full video in which I go into this concept because it is so helpful. But in a nutshell, it's a great way to think about and discover your life's purpose, your reason for living. Ikigai has to do with doing work that is meaningful to us and that brings us joy and fulfillment. It helps you gain clarity on your purpose in life through combining what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. When you find that one thing that fits into all of these, that would be your ikigai. And this will help you answer all of the questions that I was sharing with you before. On to phase number 3, and this one is going to be to do your research. Look for at least 3 to 5 different artists who are making a living doing something similar to what you want to be doing. And really set aside the time to take some notes and delve deeper into what they sell, what they are sharing online, how they are doing their marketing, how they are growing their audience. Take notes on what different types of income streams they have, and how they grow their email list, and the different ways that they are constantly providing value through their social media, their marketing channels. Are they consistently writing blog posts or sharing videos? And what type of value are they sharing with their audience? Is it educational value? Is it inspirational value? Or is it entertainment value? And once you have all of these notes, really think about it. Think of which would work for you, which you would enjoy doing most, and which are the ones that you would not like to do. What would you do differently? Growing our name, our audience, and marketing our work and sharing our work with the world is something that we're going to have to do consistently for the long haul. So you want to start giving thought to which channels, which type of media work best for you. Do you like to write? Do you like to create videos? And what can you consistently do over time? Don't spend tons of time trying to reinvent the wheel and throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if something works. Look at what other successful artists are doing. Don't copy it, but you can take what you know will work and do it in your own way. Moving on to phase number 4, and this one is to create a plan on how you're going to be growing your name and your audience. As I said, this is something that you're going to have to consistently work on over time. If you don't have an audience and you don't have a community, then there is no way that you're going to be able to consistently make an income through your work. How do you grow an audience? Through providing value for people and connecting with people consistently. And remember the 3 types of value that I was sharing about before: educational, inspirational, and also there's entertainment. All of these are forms of value that you can provide. But as artists, it's also important to get comfortable sharing more about ourselves and our story, where we get inspiration, our creative process. And if you already have a specific art style or a specific type of art that you want to be creating, think about where your people are at. Say you are a pet portrait artist. That is a very specific niche. So you can create a strategy for yourself that will allow you to be constantly providing value to that specific type of person. Where are they online? I'm pretty sure you can find many different Facebook groups for pet enthusiasts or animal enthusiasts. Or if you're building an audience offline and you're marketing your work in that way, you can look for events where you know that these types of people will be. Animal competitions or pet events. You're still in that phase where you don't know what kind of artwork they're going to be creating long term. Share your work and share about yourself. Share about what you're learning. And as long as you're sharing value with others and you're engaging and connecting with other people, you're going to be growing your audience. If you want to grow your name and your audience online, don't make the mistake that I did and try to grow all social media channels at once, because it does not work as just one single person. Every single social media channel works differently, has different rules and changes that you need to learn about and strategies that you need to continue trying and implementing if you want to gain success. So choose one social media channel, I would say. And what I would do would be to focus on either creating blog posts that share a lot of value in more of a long form way, or start a YouTube channel, which also allows you to provide a lot of value more long form. I don't consider YouTube social media. I consider YouTube a type of search engine, same as Google and your website. You can provide a lot of evergreen value for people that is more in depth than anything that you can ever provide via social media. So I would choose one primary long form evergreen way of sharing value, whether it's a website and blog posts or YouTube, and I would choose one social media channel to work on. And if you want to grow offline, you can attend art classes and workshops, your own art events and fairs, or other artists' art events or fairs. You can do talks at schools or attend classes and workshops that allow you to connect with other artists. Once you've decided what specific channels you're going to be consistently growing your audience in and growing your name in, and how you're going to be providing value for people, think of a posting or publishing cadence that is going to work for you in your current life situation. Don't overwhelm yourself. If it's once a week, 3 times a week, if you're going to be attending live events once a month, or workshops and classes with other artists to start networking in that way, all of this is something that you're going to be scheduling in. Moving on to phase number 5, and this one is setting goals. I have an entire workshop that you can check out for free in which I talk about setting SMART goals as artists, and I talk all about my process for setting long-term goals, then breaking those down into shorter-term goals, and then breaking everything down into doable weekly tasks that I plug into my agenda. I'll leave a link to that workshop down below in the text section of this post so that you can go and check it out if you haven't already. But it is essential that you establish SMART goals. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. If your goals don't have one of these 5 things, it's going to be less likely that you're going to be able to achieve that. In this beginner's phase, a few goals that come to mind would be, for example, selling 3 pieces of art in the next 3 months, or posting my first YouTube video in the next couple of weeks, or setting up my art studio by the end of next month. Or if you're saving up for that cushion fund that I was talking about before, then perhaps you can set little financial goals each month so that by the end of the year, you have some amount of money in that fund. And something that I like reminding people of is that we set goals so that we have something clear to work toward, something that we can focus our time and energy toward. Because if we don't have that North Star or that compass helping us work in that specific path towards something, we're going to remain scattered and we're never really going to get anywhere. Setting goals is not necessarily to reach that goal by that specific time that you establish for yourself. And if you don't reach it, you're a failure. That is not the case at all. It's just so that we can have something to work toward. And as life happens, we need to remain flexible. Moving on to phase number 6, and this one is going to be the implementation phase. So now that you've created goals for yourself, you're going to start working toward them. You're going to schedule them into your calendar and your weekly agenda, and you're going to make sure to work on those days and times, just like you would if you were working on homework or a work assignment for your boss, or something for someone else. You need to start prioritizing your personal projects and your wants and needs if you want to make this happen. Remember that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Rome was not built in a day, and depending on your current life situation, you may be able to do less, you may be able to do more. You're going to go through periods where life gets busy and crazy, and you're not going to be able to do something that you had scheduled, and you need to be flexible and give yourself grace. Moving on to phase number 7, and this one is to assess, change, or pivot. And what I want you to do in this phase is 3 to 6 months down the line, after you've been working toward your goals for a good amount of time, assess and analyze what is working and what is not working. What have you discovered that you want to keep doing, and what don't you want to do? Have you been able to reach any milestones? Have you been able to do more than what you initially anticipated? Or have you been able to do less and maybe you have to set smaller goals? Is there anything new that you would like to try to implement? Building a business involves learning new things and trying new things over time, over and over. We have to give ourselves enough time and space to work towards something to really know if it's going to work or not. But when something does not work, we need to pivot, we need to change something. So work towards those goals that you've established, but if something does not work, it's totally okay to change directions. I've had tons of failures, and I can truly say that it is just a matter of keeping on, learning things, changing things, and then just continuing. Moving on to the 8th and final phase, and this is the expansion phase. So by this point, you have reached some amount of success. Whatever success might mean for you, it's going to mean different things to different people, depending on the goals that you have set for yourself. If your goal was to sell 3 pieces of art in 3 months and you did it, that is a success. If your goal was to set up your website by the end of next month and you did it, that is a success. If your goal was to have your first show at a gallery and you did that, that is a success. If you were able to achieve certain milestones and a certain level of success by the end of that time frame that you established for yourself that you would be reaching your goals at, this is the point that I want you to think about expansion, meaning what else can you do? If you reach that goal, that means that your systems and a lot of the things that you were doing were good, they were effective, they allowed you to reach that goal. So what else can you add? Can you increase the number of pieces of art that you're going to be selling each month? Can you commit to writing 1 blog post a week or creating 1 video a week? Can you commit to attending 2 live events a month as opposed to 1? The more we meet those milestones and the more we reach those goals that we set for ourselves, the more our confidence is going to grow. And we're going to be able to set larger and larger goals. Not to mention, the more your name and your audience grows as an artist, the more doors are going to open for you and the more opportunities are going to come your way, which maybe you hadn't thought of before. But the point here is to not overwhelm yourself, to start with something that is practical and doable in your current life situation and then build on that incrementally. These last 4 phases, meaning setting goals, implementing your plan, assessing, improving, or pivoting, and expansion are going to be cyclical. You're going to be doing them over and over again as your business continues to grow. Those are the 8 phases that I would recommend working through as you start and grow your business. I really hope that this was helpful, and I wish you tons of luck and enjoyment building that life that you want to be living as an artist. I believe in you. You have everything that you need inside of you to succeed, and see you very soon for another video.